Hey everybody, welcome back again to Ken Tamplin Vocal Academy, where the proof is in the singing. I'm continuing a really fun series of taking isolated vocal tracks where I'm doing a vocal analysis, a vocal tutorial, a singing tutorial, talking about the recording process, a little backstory about the band, etc. Next up is Toto. The song is called Rosanna. The main lead vocalist actually is Bobby Kimball, though Steve Lukather does sing some of the lower parts. I think Paige is on there too, and other band members, etc. But I want to point this out because this is a really unique piece, and I'm really excited to do this. Now, I did a version of this. I will put it in the description. You can see how I did. I love taking on these pieces and seeing how I stack up because, again, the proof is in the singing. If I can't do it, how can I teach you how to do it? In fact, if other vocal coaches can't do it, how can they teach you how to do it? And kind of put that in your mind. That's why I always say the proof is in the singing. Now, I have a singing course. Yes, I'm shamelessly touting my singing course, but I do. I have a singing course. It's called How to Sing Better Than Anyone Else for you guys interested in learning how to sing. You can find it right here at KenTamplinVocalAcademy.com, where I have a huge, like 20,000, over 22,000 people in there now, something like that, of other like-minded singers wanting to discuss all this stuff on how to get great at singing. You can join it for free. It's totally free. So just go check it out, kick the tires a little bit, see if it's right for you. Well, let's just fire this bad boy up and take a listen. Here we go.
All I wanna do when I wake up in the morning is see your eyes. Rosanna, Rosanna, I never thought that a girl like you could ever care for me.
Now, I have to point something out right away. I don't think of Steve Lukather as a singer, and I don't think Steve Lukather thinks of himself as a singer. I think of Bobby Kimball as a crazy great singer. In fact, he's a friend of mine, just an amazingly talented guy, very high-range singer, pretty underrated. He didn't get to make it to the icon status of, I don't know, Skid Row or some other, Sebastian Bach, these other singers, but he should have. But anyway, I say this because when I try to do the song myself, there is so much swing to the song. So, boom. Boom, shoot that, boom, shoot the bat, did the boom, shoot the bat, shoot the bat, get boom, do that. Right? There's this big swing. I'm not doing it. I'm doing an injustice. I'll play it for you in a second. But I want to play. In fact, I'll play it for you right now. I want to play just the instrumental track. Okay, so here's the instrumental track. So yeah, boom, but that, shoot the bat, the boom, but that, shoot the bat, boom, but that, right? So I found it really kind of awkward and hard to match the pocket of the groove when I personally was doing it. And I'm pretty good at this. Like, I know phrasing pretty well, but I want you to listen to Lukather's approach with the track. Here we go.
All I wanna do when I wake up in the morning is see your eyes.
Now, there's an awkward thing for me there. He goes, all I want to do when I wake up in the morning is see your eyes. And it doesn't match the groove. Now, he's trying. It should be, all I want to do when I wake up in the morning is see your eyes, right? So it'd be, boom, 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 super the bat, the boom, but that, super the bat, the boom, right? He's not doing that. Check it out. He's singing on the one, and he kind of picks up the swing on the back side. Check it out.
All I wanna do when I wake up in the morning is see your eyes.
Now listen to it along.
All I wanna do when I wake up in the morning is see.
When I wake up in the morning is see your eyes, right? It should be, all I wanna do when I wake up in the morning is see your eyes, right? But when I tried to do it with swing, it didn't quite sound right. I don't know exactly why. It didn't. So check out my version. You'll see I wound up swinging it a little bit because I couldn't find myself to sing it so square and so straight. Now, Bobby Kimball makes up for it, but there's some other really fun nuances that come in. So let's continue. Here we go.
Rosanna, Rosanna, I never thought that a girl like you could ever care for me.
Now we did it there. I never thought that a girl like you could ever care for me. Rosanna, right? It's got that kind of, right? All right, so we'll listen to it again, and then there's some fun surprises coming up. Check it out.
Rosanna, Rosanna, I never thought that a girl like you could ever care for me. Rosanna.
Here we go.
All I wanna do in the middle of the evening is hold you tight.
Now, when Bobby Kimball comes in, all I wanna do in the middle of the evening is hold you tight. right? He's definitely got the swag, the swing swag. So Bobby, you can tell there's a difference between a non-singer or a singer-songwriter, being Steve Lukather. By the way, Steve Lukather is one of my all-time favorite guitar players. So as an instrumentalist and a musician, oh my God, and songwriter, just off the charts, great. Like literally one of my top 5. I'd say like Lukather, Paul Gilbert, way back in the day, some Yngwie, but gosh, who else would be? I mean, just way up there. Like Satch is great, but and I'm an old school guy too, so of course I like Jimmy Page and those guys too. But from a technical standpoint, Lukather is just top of the heap player. So I wanted to point that out, and there's some other favorites of mine, Uli Roth, and I love Michael Schenker and early Santana and stuff like that, but not as a technical standpoint. I'm a big Lukather fan. But so from a singing standpoint, shmeh, songwriting, killer. Bobby Kimball shows up, and this is what happens.
All I wanna do in the middle of the evening is hold you tight, Rosanna, Rosanna. I didn't know you were looking for more than I could ever be.
Now, if you notice, we've talked a lot about this. I said I was going to promise like some singing tutorial stuff. So, all I wanted, I in the middle of... in fact, let me go all the way back to this so I can emulate it. Check it out.
All I wanna do in the middle of the evening.
All I want to do in the middle of the evening, everything's in here. It's not all I want to do, it's all I want to do. It's real small. All I want to do in the middle of the evening is hold you tight, Rosanna, Rosanna. Now, I think it's interesting on the word hold you tight, he flatlined the vibrato. He could have, middle of the evening is hold you tight, Rosanna. You can hear him vibratoing through the rest of it, but he did that for like a very specific effect to create a little more swing in it, I believe, as the song was going by. It's a middle, hold you tight, up a day, right? And the song is very horn intensive, and I like talking about how other instruments influence vocals or how vocals influence other instruments. So you can hear he's kind of playing into the roaring 20s, 40s swing kind of vibe of the whole song. And we also hear that with the instrumentation, which I'll bring in a minute. But I think that's very interesting.
Hold you tight,
right?
Rosanna, Rosanna. I didn't know you were looking for more than I could ever be.
Now, I remember when I was trying to be. Nope, that's not it. Be. Or it's even a little more than be, right? He's got a real kind of fast trill to it. And it took me a minute to figure that lick out, and I'm pretty good at figuring out vocal licks. In fact, I give a whole tutorial on Tennessee Whiskey, for example. You can check that out where I break down the lick and I teach you guys how to do it. But Bobby was spot on in his pitch, really interesting blues licks, only does it when he needs to, so it's not gratuitous and showboaty. He's really good about being judicious about doing it at the right time, like a good guitar player. Instead of playing fast licks all the time, you play fast for a minute, you play a melody, and you're mature enough in your playing to know when to use it, right? All right, let's continue. Here we go.
Not quite a year since she went away.
Now, isn't that cool? Now, some people knew this was there. Other people didn't know it was there. But it's like a quartet, like a gospel quartet. Not quite a year since you've been away. What is it? Right. Rosanna, yeah. Now she's gone. They add this underneath the track to give it this quartet, gospel quartet feel. Let's check it out again. Here we go.
Not quite a year since she went away. Rosanna, yeah. Now she's gone, and I have to say. Yeah.
Oh, wait. Try this again.
I have to say.
Sorry, I had to do that. All right, let's get back to singing. I never knew this little thing was in here. Check this out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meet you all the way. Meet you all the way. Rosanna, yeah. Meet you all the way.
Now, as we're listening to the chorus, I'm going to bring the band back in. The genius to great songwriting, especially when you have this many great players, any one of them, Any one of them, Paige, Lukather, Porcaro, any one of these guys could take a killer solo at any time. Really, just like it's like a great forward. You know, if you, I'm gonna lose some soccer fan friends out there. I'm a Barcelona fan, right? But Germany has been able to like really step up their soccer game. I'm way off topic here, and whereas Argentine soccer, Brazilian soccer, or South American soccer, I should say, you know, you got your forwards and you're expecting someone to strike, being Messi or whomever it is, right? And you just kind of count on those being your guys, whoever it is, right? But Ronaldinho, Ronaldo, whatever. And yet in German soccer, a defender could score a goal. I mean, a goal could happen from any point, right? That could also be said for Toto and their fantastic musicianship. But they have the maturity to know when to lay out and to know when to step up to the plate. This is also true for the way they orchestrate their songs. Let me explain. I'm going to go back to the chorus, and I want you to notice something when I put the track in. Instead of meet you all the way, Rosanna, yeah, coming in right away, they breathe. They let the band do the work. Then the second time they do it, then they let, the Rosanna, yeah, come in. Check it out. Watch this. Here we go. Stop. Stop. Now, the reason I bring it up is that's just maturity. Now, let me explain this a little more in depth, okay? You can really tell an immature player when how many notes they have to fire off or how much they have to overplay, and they can't trust that other people are going to hold down the fort singing or musically, I should say, so to speak, and give the music a chance to breathe. Now, we really see this a lot with solo piano players, okay? A solo piano player, they're playing the bass over here, they're playing the melody over here, they're singing, they're kind of a one-man band, and it's really hard for that guy to put that guy in a situation like this so that he just knows, meet you all the way, meet you all the way, and like come in like with cool little stabs, waiting to see who else is, whatever other part of the song they dominate, so I could find my own little stabs. And we're gonna see this because I'm actually gonna go through the whole song for you instrumentalists out there to do a takedown of the instrumental part of this, not just the vocals. Remember, I'm talking vocal tutorial of singing, singing tutorial of vocal analysis, and talk about the recording process and the musicianship in the track. So I'm going to continue, but I wanted to point that out so I can make notes of this along the way. You can see this stuff. Here we go.
I can see your face still shining through the window on the other side.
Isn't that kind of weird? So we have this crazy swing. I can see your face still shining through the window on the other side. Steve, I'm not making fun of you, bro. I'm just saying, right? All right. He's going to kill me. Check this out.
I can see your face still shining through the window on the other side.
Sounds like a little boy singing or something. By the way, as you guys know, I always try to find the good in something. I'm not one of these basher guys. when it sticks out so much of a sore thumb with the whole band being so notoriously amazing, and that comes in, I just chuckle. Now, but it fits the song though. I gotta tell you, it does fit the song. Let's do it again. By here, let's put the track in. Let's cover up a multitude of sin here. Check it out.
I can see your face still shining through the window on the other side.
I bet you never noticed that about the vocal, but here, the next line, here we go.
Rosanna, Rosanna.
By the way, when the harmonies kick in, it covers up a lot of that sin too, right?
Rosanna, Rosanna. I didn't know that.
By the way, I never did Rosanna, ooh. I never knew that little lick was in the backside of that. Check it out.
Rosanna, Rosanna. I didn't know that a girl like you could make me feel so sad. Rosanna.
Cool. Now, by the way, on Toto 4, I think it was, Lukather does do a fair amount of singing, and there are some fabulous, beautiful enchanting romantic songs on that album, and just well done. And even though, by the way, it's encouraging to know that you could have someone that's confident enough to step up to the plate and say, hey man, it's my song. I want to sing this part. Okay. I don't think anyone's going to do a better job than me, and then be able to step up and do that. I think that's really cool too. So for us singer songwriters out there, don't be ashamed to sing your stuff. Billy Joel, like we've talked about this several times, didn't want to be his own singer. He wrote songs for other people, and because no one else would do his stuff, he wound up singing himself. There's a lot of guys out there like that. So kudos to him for doing that. Okay. Little side note there. Here we go.
All I wanna tell you is now you
Bobby.
never have to compromise. Rosanna, Rosanna.
By the way, on that time, as the chorus came back around the second time, they put a harmony on that to ratchet it up another notch, ratchet it up another notch, ratchet it up another. And so they're building, which is really cool.
I never thought that losing you could ever hurt so bad. Not quite a year since she went away. Rosanna, yeah. Now she's gone, and I have to say.
By the way, now I want to point for you instrumentalists out there something interesting that the band did. Now they did it also the first time this came around. But as the song, as you know, I said, is got a lot of swing to it, like a Roaring 20s view, right? It's got a lot of swing to it. When it gets to this part, they deliberately go into quarter notes so that they could give you a respite or a rest from the swing of the song, so that they could kind of square off the song and make it a little more straight. So when they go back into the swing, it accentuates the swing of the song even more. Let me show you. Check it out. Here's what the band did.
I never thought that losing
The swing.
you could ever hurt so bad. Not quite a year since she went away.
Swing's gone.
Rosanna, yeah. Now she's gone, and I have to say. Meet you all the way.
Right? So all of a sudden when the swing comes back in, it's like, oh man, that is cool. That is so cool. You can change entire time signatures in a song where you go quarter notes. Goo, 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 goo. Back to the swing. Boom, soup the bat, soup the bat, the boom, the bat, soup the bat, right? That's musicianship, folks. Okay, let's continue. Yes, I have man love for Toto. I told you that already. Stop it. Here we go.
Meet you all the way. Rosanna, yeah.
Perfect harmonies.
All the way.
Okay.
Meet you all the way. Rosanna, yeah.
Okay, now one of my all-time favorite guitar, that's the keyboard solo. My favorite guitar solo on the planet Earth is coming up from Steve. But let's move on to the vocal here, and then we'll get to some of the instrumental stuff in a minute. Here we go.
Not quite a year since she went away. Rosanna.
Do you hear that little extra? What is it? What?
Not quite a year since she went away. Rosanna, yeah. Now she's gone, and I have to say.
Okay, let's go to the next part here. This is where they start to pick it up a little bit.
Meet you all the way. Yeah, hey girl. Meet you all the way. Rosanna, yeah.
Now, so what did they do different from the first verse? Well, they added this second meet you all the way. Instead of meet you all the way, meet you all the way, Rosanna, yeah. Right? So they bring it in twice to give a little more energy to the back end. Check it out.
Meet you all the way. Yeah, hey girl.
And then ad lib.
Meet you all the way. Rosanna, yeah. Meet you all the way. Ooh, yeah.
But yeah, that's it. ooh, yeah. Right? I had to figure that one out too, because it's an unorthodox kind of lick, and it's cool. It's cool. It's not like a singer-songwriter like Ed Sheeran trying to sing the blues or something. It's Bobby doing something his own unique way, kind of like Mickey Thomas does stuff like that too, where you have to kind of actually figure out their thing rather than being a stock 1A kind of lick. You go, how did he do that again, right? So I had to figure this stuff out. Check out my version. It's in the description. But let's continue. Here we go.
Meet you all the way, Rosanna, yeah. Meet you all the way.
Okay, now it goes on. I want to go back to the top. I'm not going to belabor this, but I want to point out some cool stuff about the instrumentation, and I want to show you the pocket that I was talking about. So let's go to the very top. Here we go, and I'm going to add the band, and I'm probably going to take out the vocal too from time to time to show you some nuance of the way that they developed the pocket playing, where everyone got their own little pocket to showcase. And just because you showcase doesn't mean you run off like a diarrhea fingers and it's very strategically placed. Check it out.
All I wanna do when I wake up in the morning is see your eyes, Rosanna.
Now, let's take out the vocal. Like, right? Going around the keys, listen to Lukather's guitar. Right? So he's just a right? He's just picking off the backside of something, staying out of, Patience stuff, and is playing his keys and whatnot, right? So let's continue. Check it out. Now, before the chorus, it's just, he hits you with this cool organ bit coming into the chorus to really thrust us right into, not chorus, but this pre-chorus. Check it out. Now, you hear the background. These little subtleties that create the layers that go behind it. Check it out. By the way, and you hear Luca there. He kind of comes in and he pulls back out because the verse is coming back in. Really cool. Pretty simple. Yeah, the keys go right here. Check it out. Hear that? Yeah. By the way, you hear that little bass go, right? The bass is this little spotlight there. Check it out. Hear that? Everybody's giving everybody space. Cool bass line. Okay, so we're back to this in the verse. It's pretty much the same. Now, let's continue. Here we go. They're building. Now check it out. They build some more. So while the organ goes, Lukather goes on the guitar, same thing. Okay, now this is kind of the same. Then it gets to this part. this great Page solo. So even in the solo, he doesn't stay with the same instrument. He stays with a kind of a pad thing, comes up with a belly thing, and he's layering all these cool instruments back and forth to create a lot of dimension and dynamic range in the sound. Okay, so we know the solo. Let's continue. At least I know the solo. Right? He does what he did the first two times. This time he takes it up an octave, and he's letting you know that they're getting ready to step on the gas a little more. Right here, you hear that? The top of this before the chorus, that wasn't in the last one. Okay, let's continue. I'm gonna move up. Here we go. Now, as the chorus has those instrumental breaks, instead of just letting the instrumental break go by itself exactly the same way, they add more to it again. Check it out. Hear all the extra instruments? Isn't that the cool? Like, check this out. And you horn section coming in. It's really subtle, but it's all there. It all is what makes up this song so great. Now, by the way, then he takes a percussive on the organ. Then we get jazzy and funky. Have you guys ever seen these guys live? You walk out there with such a musical spanking, you like just go, did I get spanked as hard as I got spanked? Answer, yes. I love this solo coming up. Sexy piano. Love this lick right here. My favorite lick right here. Anyway, phenomenal musicianship, guys. And again, I know this is supposed to be about doing isolated vocals, but I couldn't resist the opportunity to show you how amazing the orchestration, the pocket playing, the professionalism, the musicianship, the maturity to let some guy take this part, that part, and and layering it all together just to make what you wouldn't even notice because it seems kind of simple as you're going through it until you hear the actual true masterpiece that it really is, okay? Hopefully you guys enjoyed this as much as I did, and definitely check out my next video.